Welcome to the Empressa Era podcast, a realm where intuition flows through real life and your personal power is celebrated. I'm your host, Queen Empressa, and together we'll explore tarot, self-mastery, sensuality, and aligned growth. Now take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's get into it. Welcome back to the podcast. You already know it's Queen Empressa coming straight from the witchy realm to deliver you some goodness. Today's episode carries a special energy for me because this is episode 9. Now, I am no expert whatsoever. However, I do some research, I do some looking, and for some reason the number 9 really spoke to my soul. I found that in numerology, the number 9 represents completion, wisdom, and closing a cycle before a new one begins. 9 is the energy of reflection and understanding. It's the energy of our elders and our ancestors who have walked a path long enough to look back and say, here's what I learned along the way. So today, I want to share something personal and deeply honest with you. I want to talk about 9 truths I wish I had known earlier about becoming a witch and fully stepping into my craft. These truths were not things that I learned from a single book, and I unfortunately haven't had any teachers or mentors along the way. Although the TikTok girlies really do have some great insight, so I would credit them for some of my knowledge for sure. But I've never had just one teacher or one mentor. These truths were revealed slowly through my practice, my mistakes, my healing from those mistakes, intuition, and overall experience. So when you begin walking this path of witchcraft or hoodoo or whatever you want to associate yourself with, there is so much excitement and curiosity mixed with uncertainty, kind of like a bad cocktail or like a Long Island. Most of us begin by searching outside of ourselves for answers. So we're constantly searching for the perfect spell, the perfect altar setup, the perfect witchy aesthetic, or just the perfect way to be a witch. And over time, you start to understand that this whole craft is not about perfection at all. It is about relationship. It's about relationship with yourself, your intuition, your energy, the world itself, the natural world, and the unseen forces that move through life, as well as the universe. So let's get right into the 9 truths that changed everything for me. The first truth I wish I knew earlier is that people's opinions do not matter when it comes to your spiritual path or anything in life for that matter. Nothing in life. Nobody's opinion matters. But when you begin exploring witchcraft, you may encounter no, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. You will encounter skepticism, judgment, misunderstanding, and even fear from the people that are closest to you. Some people will dismiss you and mock you, and an even bigger portion will project their own beliefs or fears onto you. It's insane. At the beginning of my journey, I cared far too much about what others thought of me, let alone my practice. I often worried about sounding strange or being misunderstood, and I worried that people around me would think I was overdramatic or delusional for believing in energy, intuition, and magic. Now, on top of this, just for me, growing up in rural New England, I was probably the only African American girl in my school. So that's another thing that I was challenged with, was trying to make sure that I had friends by fitting in, and fitting in meant making myself small and making my beliefs small so that people wouldn't think differently or negatively of me. And the truth is that your spiritual relationship is so deeply personal. No one else can feel the things you feel during a ritual. No one else can experience the quiet whisper of intuition that guides you during a spell or meditation. No one else can stand inside your connection with the universe. Your craft only needs your presence and your devotion. Once I released that societal need to be more understood by everyone around me, my practice became stronger, deeper, and so much more authentic. I felt more like myself. I stopped shrinking my beliefs to make other people comfortable. I stopped filtering my experiences through the lens of someone else's expectations. And I just stopped giving a fuck about what other people thought. Your magic grows the moment you choose to honor yourself. The second truth I wish I knew earlier is that I needed to trust myself and my intuition. So many beginners spend years searching for external validation. We look for someone to confirm that our feelings are real. We search for teachers to tell us that we're doing things correctly, and we want instructions for every step of the way. And learning from others is beautiful and important, don't get me wrong. This is part of how it has been for centuries. Wisdom has always been passed down through communities and traditions and our elders. At the same time, witchcraft is an intuitive path. Your inner knowing is one of your most powerful magical tools. Your body often senses energy before your mind understands it. Your intuition speaks before logic can catch up, and your spirit recognizes sacred moments long before words can describe them. There were times early in my journey when I felt something so deeply during a meditation or a ritual and immediately questioned it. I would wonder if I imagined it. I'd wonder if I was reading too much into it. Then I would essentially cancel out my intuition by dismissing it, weakening that connection to the universe, all because I doubted myself. Over time, I realized that intuition grows stronger through trust. When you listen to your intuition and you honor it, the voice becomes clearer for you. When you constantly dismiss it, the voice becomes quieter. And your intuition is part of your magical compass. It guides you towards what resonates with your spirit and away from what doesn't belong on your path. When you trust yourself, your craft becomes alive. The third truth I wish I knew earlier is that witchcraft does not need to be expensive. There is such a popular aesthetic surrounding witchcraft now in society that focuses on the most beautiful tools, elaborate looking altars, crystals from every single corner of the world, and shelves full of magical supplies. Now, I love me a good shiny thing, and some of these things can be lovely and inspiring, but they also create such a societal illusion that magic requires a large collection of objects, and that's just not true. The truth is that magic has existed for thousands, if not millions of years, in places where people had next to nothing. Many of the most powerful traditions were practiced by people who relied on simple tools, plants, words, and their own intentions. My ancestors had zero currency to buy things, let alone have the ability to buy things. They used what they had and could utilize in plain sight. A candle can hold powerful energy, just like a bowl of water can become sacred through blessing it. And a stone picked up during a meaningful walk can carry deep spiritual significance. The most important ingredient in any spell or ritual is your intention, your presence, and your connection to spirit. Your energy activates the work, your focus directs it. You don't need a room full of supplies to be a witch. All you need is awareness, curiosity, respect for yourself and the natural world, and a willingness to listen. Now, that's not to say that you can't love material things, because I am a Madonna material girl myself. I do love a good shiny thing or two. However, it's not necessary in order for you to make shit shake. Magic lives in connection, not in price tags. And some of my most powerful moments in my craft have happened during meditations and during those times where I make spontaneous rituals or spells crafted with whatever I had available or near me in the moment. My last video that I posted about how to make a fast working spell with some honey and cinnamon, that was out of the blue for me during a day where I just figured, you know what, I need to do something really quick. And it just happened. And boom, it actually worked. And like I said, magic lives in connection. And the fourth truth I wish I knew is that sharing every part of the journey is not necessary and can often be harmful. We live in a time right now where it's so hard in society to feel pressured to document every single moment of our lives online. That's what influencers do. That's what, people that make money off the internet do. And social media encourages that 100%. They encourage constant sharing. Social media invites us to turn every single moment into content. But I'm here to tell you that spiritual growth is quiet and sacred. So, as much as I'd love to share all of it with you, not every ritual needs to be photographed or recorded. and not every spell needs to be explained. There are experiences within the craft that deserve privacy and protection, and you'll learn this the further that you move forward with your craft as well. Some energies just deepen through that silence and reflection, and some lessons need time to settle before they can be understood or taught. Early on in my journey, I felt that I needed to prove my authenticity by sharing so many pieces of my practice. And over time, I realized that sacred experiences grow stronger when they're honored with care. Your altar does not need to be visible to be powerful, and your altar actually shouldn't be shown at all, in my opinion. That is very sacred to yourself and your own practice. And of course, if you have working altars in a home and people walk through the room, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm really talking more about social media in terms of recording your altar and recording your work. That's not something that I personally like to do. And if I do make a recording of how to make a spell or how to do something, I'll show you the full steps of the way. However, when I do it myself, there may be different intentions put into it. Or if I show you a mock up altar on my social media, it may be one of my altars with some things removed. So that way, it's still sacred to me. And privacy can be a form of devotion to your craft. The fifth truth I wish I knew is that once you awaken to the craft, you begin to see the world through majestic eyes. Something just changes inside you when you start becoming magically aware. The natural world begins to reveal layers that you did not notice before. So it's almost like the wind feels like a secret conversation. The moon feels like a friend or like a mother once the connection is stronger. The rhythm of the seasons begin to shape your emotional landscape. And small moments carry so much more meaning. Just for example, the flight of a flock of birds catches your attention in a way that otherwise would not. The craft teaches you to pay attention. It's a special reminder to slow down and witness the living energy of the world. Once you experience that shift in perception, it becomes so hard to return to the old way of seeing things. You literally cannot. The world becomes richer and more mysterious. Life begins to feel enchanted. The sixth truth is that the craft will challenge you to grow emotionally and spiritually. And this was something that I honestly was not ready for. However, I had to get ready. Many people begin exploring witchcraft because they're drawn to the side of empowerment, manifestation. They're spiritually curious. They want to have more control over their lives. But those things, they're absolutely a part of the path. But at the same time, this sort of craft invites deep, deep self reflection. When you work with energy and intention and spiritual awareness, you begin noticing patterns within yourself. So you'll start to see old wounds, fears, and habits rise to the surface. Shadow work becomes a vital part of this journey. There's no way around it. Shadow work means acknowledging the parts of yourself that you avoided or suppressed. And it means understanding your reactions, your triggers, and the beliefs that have shaped your life thus far. This work can be very uncomfortable at times because you have to be extremely honest and patient with yourself. But it also brings profound healing. Magic is not only about influencing the world around you, magic is about transforming the world within you. The more you heal and understand yourself, the clearer your energy becomes. Your spells become way more focused, your intuition becomes accurate, and your spiritual connection becomes more grounded. Growth is one of the greatest gifts the craft can offer. The seventh truth I wish I knew earlier is that consistency matters way more than perfection. So many beginner witches or practitioners like myself feel so much pressure to perform elaborate rituals or to follow these very strict routines. And when life becomes super busy or chaotic, they feel like they're failing at their practice. And that's where I was last year. Life became busy. I began volunteering a lot more in my community and, being a mother and going through the 9 to 5, I felt like I couldn't keep up with these strict routines that I was creating for myself until I realized, why am I doing that? I don't need to do that. The craft is a living relationship. So it grows through regular attention and genuine presence. 5 minutes to have a grounding meditation can be powerful. A 15-second honey and cinnamon spell, as I've proven in my last videos, can be super powerful. Lighting a candle with intention can reconnect you with your spiritual focus. And whispering gratitude to the universe before sleeping can become a sacred ritual. Your patience does not need to be complicated. Your practice does not need to be complicated to be meaningful. Consistency builds familiarity with your energy and strengthens your connection to the spiritual world in the universe. Magic thrives in moments of presence that are repeated with care. The eighth truth is that your path will always be yours, uniquely yours. Witchcraft is incredibly diverse. There are countless traditions, beliefs, and methods within the craft. Some people focus on herbal magic. Others work closely with divination. Some have strong relationships with deities or ancestors, and others focus on energy work and meditation. Sometimes it can be tempting to measure your path against someone else's practice or compare yourself to someone else's witchy TikTok or their videos and how much stuff they have. You may wonder if you're doing things correctly or if your approach is not correct. The truth is that your spiritual path is meant to reflect your soul, your interests, experiences, cultural influences, and intuitive guidance shape your practice. Your craft may evolve many times throughout your life. You may find some new tools or new ideas and new insights that will appear as you grow. And there is so much beauty in that evolution. It means that you are alive and engaged with the journey. Your path doesn't need to mirror anyone else's to be valid. Now, the ninth and final truth that I wish I knew earlier is that stepping fully into your craft is an act of personal sovereignty. Choosing to embrace witchcraft often means stepping outside of traditional expectations about spirituality and belief. And believe me, I know this personally from growing up in a Roman Catholic household. It requires courage to trust your experiences and follow a path that feels more authentic to your spirit. Sovereignty means claiming ownership of your energy, your beliefs, and your spiritual authority. It means recognizing that your relationship with magic is something you cultivate through intention and devotion. When you stand in that, something powerful happens. Your confidence grows, your intuition becomes clearer, your rituals feel way more meaningful because they come from a place of deep alignment. You begin to move through the world with a quiet sense of inner authority, and the craft becomes a companion on your journey rather than a performance for others. Now, as I reflect on these 9 truths, I realize that every lesson arrived exactly when I was ready to understand it, and not a moment sooner. Growth rarely follows a straight path. It unfolds through mistakes, breakthroughs, curiosities, and moments of quiet realization. So if you're new to the craft, please know that there's no perfect timeline for becoming the witch you are meant to be. Your path will unfold in layers. Some lessons will arrive quickly, others will take years to fully understand. Approach the journey with patience and kindness towards yourself, and realize that sometimes you just don't always get the full answer, and that's going to have to be okay. Honor your intuition, protect your sacred experiences, and allow your practice to evolve naturally as you learn and grow. Most importantly, remember that magic begins within you. Your awareness, intention, and your connection to the living world are the foundation of everything you create through your craft. Thanks again for spending this time with me today and for allowing me to share these reflections with you. I hope these truths bring encouragement, clarity, and inspiration to your own journey. Until next time, continue walking your path with confidence and reverence for the magic that already lives inside you. Bye, lovelies.